What's up, everybody? Welcome on into the call-ups. Susannah Collins virtually alongside Jillian Sakovitz, who I miss terribly. I know, virtual hugs. As you can see, I am wearing Mickey Mouse ears, and I have
some very disco-esque. Mickey and Minnie and all
I have
your crazy Disney stuff.
I have a Minnie Mouse t-shirt on, and there is a reason why I'm doing
Not
this.
Just
still.
Being a Disney freak.
Well, that is also true. I am an admitted Disney fanatic. And in fact, I had a trip to Disney World planned at the end of this month that is no longer happening. Wah, wah.
Among other things.
So I put the ears on and the shirt just to, it automatically kind of lifts my mood. But more importantly, MLS unites. Every week they have a different theme to which that they are uniting for. So this week, MLS unites to inspire kids. And I figured what better way to inspire the kiddos out there than with my Mickey Mouse ears and my Minnie Mouse t-shirt. And can I tell you, Jill? These Mickey Mouse ears that I'm wearing, I got these in Disneyland Paris last year when I went to the World Cup did the BTW piece with Florian Valot of the Red Bulls. And so it just brings back such happy memories and makes me smile. And yeah, we just need
my inspiration to the youth. Just a cat. Because Suze, I love going to Disney with you, but I just rely on your Disney wardrobe, your Disney ears, because I don't need to buy that stuff. You've got what, 10 ears?
I have at least
35
shirts of ears. Yes.
So when we've gone, I've just been like, Suze, pack me a little bow and ears. I'm good to go. But that's not a quarantine-friendly move at the moment.
No,
so
sadly.
I am
One
Disney-less.
day.
I'm giving June treats to coerce her over here. But someone else who inspires kids and is heavily involved in his community is CJ Sapong, and we will hear from him in just a few moments.
Very
exciting. Still a kid at heart, I have to say.
He is. He's wonderful.
Well, speaking of inspiring kids, that brings us to, and we're keeping it positive during quarantine, but 3 things that we are here for this week. The first one being Jeff Attinella. I did a Beyond the Stands with him. I'll tweet that out. You guys can take a look at it. He has his own children's book series that he writes based on historical events in sports, but he writes it in a way that kind of brings it back down to earth for kids. He has been reading books that he wrote on YouTube. And
it's so cool.
Yeah, so that's a great one. And then, Suze, I know you came up with that one. A Quarantine Looks. Dax's mustache. Kyle Martino cutting his own hair with the help of Alexis Guerreros from the Cooligans.
My gosh.
Was hilarious.
There is so much. There's so much to unpack.
Mustache. He put that up and said, roast me. And oh man, was that funny. But we be props for keeping it real. The guys can do that too during quarantine.
There's a lot of upkeep that goes into, our hair, makeup, all of that. And so I think it's hysterical watching people sort of, these sort of DIY self-care videos that people are putting up. So, Dax, as you said, growing out the mustache. The Kyle Martino, Alexis Guerreros Instagram live was hysterical. It was so funny. And Kyle Martino, as you know, has this incredible head of hair.
Yes.
And so I was just so nervous the whole time. I was like, oh God, don't cut off too much. But it actually didn't turn out too terribly.
Honestly, to go on Instagram live and just shave your head.
I know, but I'm so here for it. I'm so here for people just kind of, this sort of all in it together mentality of like, listen, we're up to our own devices right now. We're going to make the best of it. And so I applaud people being as brave as they are, just putting it out there that, we're all struggling a little bit.
And the last thing we're here for, and a little jealous of, I have to be honest, is somehow the Benny, Sal, and Ike podcast landed Will Ferrell. And I've interviewed him before, and I honestly could, June, stop biting me. I couldn't. June, I brought you over here to inspire kids, and this cat is
behave.
Just biting me, which is not inspirational for anybody. Stop. So Betty, Sal, and Ike podcast that will be out too. Scooping up Will Ferrell. We're super jealous
because we have a wish list of people that are on our our guest list that, you know, we would love to have on the podcast, and Will Ferrell was always at the top of that list, and somehow they snagged him. I have a feeling it had something to do with Benny Feilhaber playing for LAFC
No, sure.
previously. You
Like,
know, I think maybe there was a little
props to Will
a
Ferrell
little, but listen, you work those
supporting a
connections.
former player
And
of his.
but do you think Ike is going to interrogate Will Ferrell?
Yes,
because
he's been
I am here,
advertising
I am
that, and
here for
I'm nervous
that.
just for it. Oh, June's nervous too.
Oh, hi, June. She can't wait.
Wide-eyed over Will Ferrell. Okay.
Yes, check out the Benny and Sal and Ike podcast, because that Will Ferrell interview will be fire.
Fire. Something else that's fire that we're doing during quarantine is a little segment called the Call Up Cares, and we're highlighting something really lovely and philanthropic that our clubs are doing, because it's been so impressive to see all the work that clubs across MLS have been doing. And this week's Call Up Cares is the Houston Dynamo.
This
the
is
Dynamo
incredible.
and BBVA Stadium, they donated all of the unused meat and produce from postponed matches to Open Door Mission, a local relocation and rehabilitation facility dedicated to helping Houston's homeless population. Dynamo Charities, the club's nonprofit arm, is working with several of the club's corporate partners to organize a significant donation to Houston-based healthcare service organizations.
It's a really, really, really cool. I know. And also, just on that note, there is a story that's on MLSsoccer.com right now about a couple that was actually on the Today Show. And it's a husband and wife, and the wife is undergoing chemotherapy right now for cancer
that picture
treatment.
That's been all over Twitter.
Yes.
And the guy is sitting there in a Dynamo
And the guy
t-shirt.
is sitting outside of her hospital window because he cannot go inside because of all of the regulations that are out right now. But he is sitting there in a chair with a sign that says, "I may not be inside, but I am here for you." And his wife took a picture, and then he's sitting outside, but he is in head to toe Houston Dynamo gear. And so the Houston Dynamo took notice of this. Zarek Valentine, who is now part of the Houston Dynamo roster, saw this and was like, "This is absolutely unbelievable. I need to find this guy so I can bring them both to a game when all of this is over and give them the royal treatment." And it was just such a heartwarming story, and I loved it so much. And so love what the Houston Dynamo are doing. Love that there's been this highlight on this particular story and this particular fan, because we need more of those feel good stories right now. I love it.
And the moment we've been waiting for, our AT&T call to the field with none other than CJ Sapong himself, now a decade in Major League Soccer, forward with the Chicago Fire. And if we want to go way back, 2011 Rookie of the Year. CJ, we have been waiting for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that amazing introduction. That's just great. I appreciate that.
CJ, you've kept it so positive on social media, which I know it's always easy to do, but I know I've appreciated it. How are you? What's keeping you centered now as we go past the 30-day postponement mark of MLS?
Oh, man. Well, I'm glad to hear that. You know, if I can provide positivity, I'm always appreciative of that. And, you know, I just try to lead by example. I've been pretty blessed, I'd say. You know, this is an interesting time that we're all living in, and it kind of, you know, causes friction in your reality. But I've gotten to partake in a lot of different of my hobbies. You know, I get more time for Tai Chi, yoga, been reading a lot, still working out, getting my sweat in, you know. I think the sweat is actually the only thing that keeps me sane, because at the end of the day, we're all new to this, you know. So as much as I swore I had all the tools and resources necessary to just grow some wings out of this and fly off the balcony, it definitely has been a learning experience, but I'm embracing that, you know.
We love that. We love to hear that. And we are going to get to more of sort of your quarantine advice and how you keep so positive later on in this interview. So I want you to save some of that because we have some very specific questions for you.
Yes,
But
really
I'll
only
try
CJ
my
could
best.
answer.
I'll
You
try
can.
my best.
we need all the help we can get, CJ. I'm telling you. So we in our research, Jill and I like to think of ourselves as very thorough podcast hosts and journalists, and so we were doing our research on you. And on your Wikipedia page, which I'm not sure if you've ever checked out, but it says your full name is
Who
Charles
doesn't look at their
Nana.
Wikipedia page?
I know exactly. Charles CJ Nana Kwabena Sapong.
Almost.
So
Kwabna.
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 Kwabna. So can you give us the origin story of your name and how you came to be known as CJ?
Wow. You guys are just starting off on a great foot. Good podcasters, you. Love it. So yeah, Nana Kwabna. So
Kwabna.
so my family, they're what we call a Khan. It is a tribe. If you go back down to the Africa's earliest history, it was divided in tribes. And so depending on the tribe, they have their own culture behind the naming of a child. In my family's particular tribe, it is dependent on the day you were born. And then in some tribes that I guess of more regal nature, the order in which you're born also comes into play. Like my grandfather was the chief of his tribe, right? He wasn't like, people think like Game of Thrones and stuff like that. But no, a tribe, back in those days, tribes were communities, right? And with such a vast land, there was more than enough space for tribes to, do their own thing. But my grandfather's lineage, they have been the chieftains of the tribe for many, many generations. So my name in particular, the Nana, shows being the firstborn. And then Kwabna is among a set of names that can be used on a certain day, which is a Tuesday. So I was born on a Tuesday. I was the firstborn in my family. And then there's others. It gets a little deeper, which is stuff that I actually just recently found out because I was a little inquisitive. But I want to do more research on that before I start just like spitting it out.
So Nana Kwabna, how did they go? I see the Charles, the C. Where does the J? How did you get the CJ?
Yeah,
TBD.
so
Unknown.
My mom is the one who dubbed me CJ.
Let's get Mrs. Sapong on the phone.
Right. I talk to her every day, at least 2-3 times a day. She now knows how to use FaceTime. I'm just trying to get her. Her only thing is I need to get her to like be in the screen. She's always like this. Hey.
Oh, it's CJ.
Or the chin.
It's the up the nostril viewpoint.
Whoa.
That is my mom and dad. They cannot figure it out. It's so precious. I'm like, guys, just lift it up.
It's
just
amazing.
Right here.
It's amazing.
CJ, speaking of your mama, you have been a real proud son and posting a lot about her. I know she's a nurse in the ICU at Prince William Hospital in Virginia, where you're from. Your girlfriend, you recently said, is also a nurse. So you got some superhero ladies in the family. Especially your mom being in an ICU in Virginia as the coronavirus spreads. What's kind of been her experience and what's going on with them? And then what's that like for you? We're all worried about our loved ones, but then especially the ones that are really in it.
Yeah. It really puts things in perspective, and maybe later in this interview, we can get deeper into what it brings to our reality. The fact that the people that are taking the largest risk are the ones that are going to be hurt the most through this whole situation. I just hope that when it is said and done, that there is some type of compensation or some type of, at least, the acknowledgement is one thing, but we got to do a little bit more, because the things that they're going through in terms of just being protected, all right, it's one thing to freely put yourself in a situation of danger to help other people. However, if the same establishment that is employing you to do such duties and services won't even provide protection for you, you now are starting to reapproach, this process. And, my mom in the beginning stages, she almost resigned. She almost said, I've been doing this for 30 plus years. I'm just asking to be protected. Forget the fact that, I have to work extra hours, longer hours. I have to do more on my hours. I just want to feel safe when I'm at work. I have a family at home, and cool little story. She actually stood up and was able to get her unit more equipment. And, in my head, I just want to tell her to get out of there. I'm like, I will do what I can to pay your salary. Like, we can make it work. It's not worth it. But it's like in her DNA, she said, I can't leave my patients. Like, she looked at me and I'm like, I feel you. But she's been able to change the energy. Like, that's for me, number one hero in my life. Go, Mom. You go, Mom. Cause
Mama Sapong.
What's your mom's name?
Jillian.
Jillian.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jillian.
No, Gillian with the G.
Oh, Gillian. Thank you, Gillian.
Oh, that's an amazing testament. And my brother is a doctor as well. And I spend so much of my mental energy worrying about him. So I can imagine for you, your thoughts are probably constantly with your mom and your girlfriend who are working in the healthcare industry. So how do you kind of put your mind at rest? Like when you start to because in the situation we're in, anxiety can build inevitably, just because it's a world, an unknown world that all of us are living in right now. So when you're thinking about your mom, your girlfriend, how they are on the front lines, how do you temper any sort of anxiety that comes along with those thoughts?
At this point, we're gonna have to develop a lot of different ways to do that. But I think my main one is to breathe and to recognize, to breathe, and to be aware of my breath. When I do that, after at least like 5 deep breaths, like, I'm in a state where anxiety has lessened, blood pressure is lessened, fear has lessened, and then from there, I'm in a better position to figure out what it is that I need to do. Which for me, I have my I'm trying to build for after soccer, so I have an opportunity to dive into that. So I have enough topics to entertain me, throughout the whole quarantine. Um, Plus, I have obviously Sacred Seeds. We're trying to maneuver around what's gone on, and it's provided its own illustrious story that I just can't help but thank the heavens for bestowing such a journey upon me, because I really would not have it any other way. So, yeah, I had that, and I'm trying to take in information, stay informed, and I also got my popcorn because this is some entertaining.
Yes. Yes, the popcorn helps because it's like low calorie. It gives you something to do. It's pretty healthy. It's
If
crunchy.
you're gonna stress
I am
eat,
making
popcorn's a good
popcorn
option.
like 5 nights a week.
Like
Jill is a popcorn enthusiast. I can attest to
a
this.
little light sea salt on the thing.
Sport in Kansas City, Philadelphia, Chicago. 2019, you're coming off of one of your most productive seasons in MLS, your second highest goals produced at 13. You were the Chicago Fire's Golden Boot winner and MVP. You've been through a couple teams in MLS, obviously over 10 years, but now you're living in Chicago. I see you posting, from your balcony, the beautiful city skyline. What has the city of Chicago meant to you? And what type of experience has the Chicago Fire now been at this point in your career?
Oh man, beautiful all around. Having an opportunity to come to a place where obviously hindsight is 2020, right? I came in the beginning of the season and had to integrate into a group as things were starting, and by the blessings of all that is, I was able to perform right away through my energetic equation. I think my teammates, coaches, members of the organization resonated with me. So that allowed us to grow together, in a way. And Chicago is just a dope city. Amazing city, man. Like, I can't get over it. 1000%. And for me to come here at this time in my career where, you know, as I overlook the city literally and I'm brainstorming ideas for how to push my future. I can use it as a visualization technique, right? And provide standing and substance behind my visualizations and where I've come, how far, the things I've gone through, and how to just keep it going. So, shouts to the Shy, the
Real
Windy
quick,
City.
Real quick, I just have to ask you,
Oh.
because we were so close to your new home opener at Soldier Field. How are things going to change when the Chicago Fire do get to play at Soldier Field? I know Sue's, being a Chicago area native, has been to those
Mm.
old MLS games at Soldier Field. How do you think things are going to kind of go up to the next level?
I think it's gonna be considerably more amplified than it would have been if we just did it on the 21st. I mean, we had a lot of energy building up towards it, and I mean, just throughout the organization with the new coaching staff and the direction, it was magical. How on the same wavelength everybody was and how excited people were. And now, when we come back around, best believe people are going to appreciate it a little bit more. So I feel like, if anything, like it's going to be times 10 now,
Yeah.
because it was coming and then it gets ripped from us. And, we're in this situation where, you know, we're just awaiting that moment. And when it comes, I know it's going to be magic.
Oh, CJ, you are making me so homesick, right?
I know. I see you over there. She can't even stay still. I feel
I'm
you. Sh-
It's really hot. Well, it's my family is still all in the Chicago area, and typically I would have spent Easter with them. I try to get home every few months because it's a pretty short flight from New York. But yeah, just you talking about looking over the city and how it inspires you. It's getting me right now. I'm getting a little emotional.
Have you heard
So
the Drake song, Chicago Freestyle?
yes. Oh God, it's.
I just play it on the balcony. I'm just playing it
Just
repeat.
inject it into my veins. I know. It's such a special city, and it makes my heart happy that
Mm.
you are embracing it so much, and you have done so many good things with that team. And one of the things I want to ask you about, so Bastian Schweinsteiger was your teammate,
Mm.
and he has obviously walked away from the game, has set off into retirement, but when he did say farewell, you posted something on Instagram and you talked about the special bond that you had with him, and you said, you taught me to embrace the inner child while focusing on mastering my craft. Hands down, the most surreal experience, interaction, and friendship that this game has brought me. Danke, Basti. I just want to ask you, what was it about Bastian Schweinsteiger that made him such a special teammate to you, and how did you guys develop that friendship?
Whew, man, I might tear up a little bit.
It's okay.
Oh, Bossy. He's a guy that through his journey, he's accomplished such great things that it literally just permeates in his essence, right? Somebody that's done what he's done could easily be very closed off to the world. And he's the exact opposite. So that alone, I mean, I was playing FIFA with this guy for years, just bangers from all types of areas of the field, you know. So to have him, he was right across from me too, and he's wild in the sense of, because of the inner child that he embraces, right? The fact that he's willing and able to do that, it brings an energy around him that now engages everybody else as well. So it's he's a catalyst, man, just straight catalyst. That's besides the fact of all the things he's accomplished. So I think the fact that he could connect with people on that level and then kill it right in the middle and then bring you to the board and remind you of this certain run that you made, and he played a ball that he knows you could have gotten to if you thought about the run quicker, So that experience, that dynamic, I mean, the growth I was able to experience through that, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna just, chill right here. That's the homie Basti. Like, hey man, I got this nonprofit, bro. You try.
Do you want to make any donations?
I mean, you could change a lot of people's lives, bro.
Have you heard about Philadelphia? That's so cool to hear, because sometimes you hear about that guys really are like next level IQ of the game, and just the fact that he sits there and kind of breaks it down to you guys already professionals is so interesting to hear.
And I'm like, I have 9 years in the game, and every time he spoke, like, he just brought a perspective. He brought his perspective that allowed players to now look at the game. Like, it does take a lot of players a long time in their career before they start approaching the game as if, or even approaching the analysis of the game as if they actually might have a say, right? A lot of guys first years are like, all right, this is what I'm supposed to do. Let's go do this, Whereas he allowed us to give feedback and what do you think, And that changes a lot in people's individual careers and then teams as well.
I have to ask you, yes, that caption that you wrote when you kind of thanked him for the effect he had on you, we left out a tiny bit when Suze read the beautiful part. It also said, questionable banter in the showers. Can you elaborate, CJ, please?
It's funny because when you read it, I was like, was that the whole caption? Because as soon as you started reading the caption, I was like, oh, yeah, questionable. It would be so questionable if anybody else saw that stuff. It'd be so questionable.
Would you have accepted it from anyone other than him?
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
But a legend World Cup guy comes in, and you're like, okay, he can say whatever he wants in the shower.
And his full commitment, he fully commits to the banter. Some guys are kind of like, oh, ha, ha, ha. This man is like, hey.
Not what you expected from Bastian Schweinsteiger, I assume?
Funny you say that, because towards the end of the season last year, we're in the shower. It's just me and him, because me and him were typical guys that just took our time. So, like, we'll be in the showers last. And I go in there, and he's just shaving, like, just getting every spot. So, as you can imagine.
Oh, I am learning so much valuable information today.
I swear, I'm like, I walk in, I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I've seen it before anyway, so.
Right.
So I was just showering, whatever, mind my business. I turn around, and he's just sitting there, just like looking at me.
I learned something new today. And I think the rest of the world did too.
Mind blowing.
And I'm looking at him, I'm like, what's up? And he's just smiling. He's like, look, hey, CJ, be honest. When you first came to the team, you didn't think I'd be like this, huh?
And you were so happy that he was.
I said, you are so right there, Basti. I did not.
You have played under some pretty high caliber pedigree coaches in Jim Curtin, Peter Vermees, and now Raphael Vicky in Chicago. Who would you say has had the biggest influence on your career? Who was provided the biggest sort of sense of mentorship for you?
Man, you see, people get mad because with questions like that, it's always going to be hard for me to pinpoint one person. because
Yeah.
You can say what's unique about each. This way we're not
you
random.
know
Yeah.
they and I'm not just saying this to not pick one person, but they all
Mhm.
provided their own lessons for me as a player and as a man relative to the time I was in my life, in my career. Peter, I think, was very pivotal in my career being what it is. Like I'll have to tip my hat to him on that one, because the ability he has to make players want to find their own maximum potential is I haven't seen that really since being under him. Now that comes with other things too. If you can't stay, for instance, he wants you physically fit, right? He wants you to know the strategy, be able to have your mind on a swivel. However, putting so much energy into that, if you don't have a channel off the field to relieve that high pressure, high press, it's high pressure too. Literally, like right when you get off the field, like so but then going to Philly, Jim, who's a way more laid back guy, he was the first coach that I feel like I could have an actual conversation with, and he wasn't like trying to pro me or didn't have like some thing behind it. So that was good to feel, to as I got older too, and as I kind of took into a leadership role at Philly, to be able to talk about situations that are going on with the team, be able to just pop in, talk about things that are going on the field, strategy, stuff like that, allowed me to take, and it goes back to that caption under Bassie's picture, but you take all these skills, right, and you try to master your craft. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can take little bits and pieces from all your experiences, and you create your own signature frequency, whatever that is.
We kind of want to pivot and talk about something, just a pretty seminal moment, I think, in your life. You kind of alluded to the way that you are now and your spirituality and the way that you approach life. And we can go back to 2015 and the DUI that you were issued, and then subsequently going to rehab in Malibu, and how that really changed your life, changed your perspective. In what ways did you emerge from that situation feeling like you had a better handle on who you were as a person and how you were going to approach life?
See, you just put it right, that little sprinkle on the end of it, you just wrapped it up pretty nicely. That's what it led to, becoming aware of who I was, and also kind of attacking some deeper rooted programs that have followed me my whole life. And given my environment, we're all products of our environment, and we allow certain aspects of our being that we feel are foreign, we allow them to be, because that's the environment hypes it up, and we feel like it's necessary. But yeah, going back to that situation, man. So this was, I just gotten to Philly. I played one game, I believe. I got a concussion in that game. I was in the house for a full month, and it was a tough concussion. People that have had concussions, I think, are the only ones that can really understand. But it takes you to a place that, again, if you don't have the proper tools, skills to stay mindful without a concussion, you're already going to have problems. But with a concussion, another level. So I remember going through that and going through a tough time, and finally was able to be training, and went out in Philly by myself. People always make me, they don't make me feel weird. They make it seem like that's so weird to go out by yourself. I'm like, I love that.
Suze, we're on the road all the
I
time
ain't gotta
alone,
worry.
and we'll call each other like, I'm going out alone right now.
I ain't
Not
gotta,
weird at all.
I ain't gotta
We
worry
get it.
about y'all. I ain't gotta worry about,
It's our jam.
We get
you
it.
know. But I think what's interesting about the situation, which it didn't take until a year and a half for the whole process to go through, for me to be found not guilty, no alcohol in my system, no nothing like that. They got me on some refusal, which I won't drag it on too long, but long story short, I'm in Philly. I never lived in Philly, so I'm leaving little dinner spot. I'm trying to find my way. Actually, there was a Freddie Gray demonstration. I don't know if we want to bring that up, but it was a situation that was going down in America at that time. That
Yeah.
there was a whole demonstration going on in Philly, cones everywhere. Long story short, I about to miss an exit. Probably okay. I maybe could have just kept going and took a U-turn, but hell, I mean, you know, swerved onto the exit, and 5 minutes later, there's a cop behind me. I didn't find out till a year later. A cop behind me saw me swerve onto the exit, and he radioed another cop that was in front that he knew was over there and said, "Oh yeah, get this man. Like he's probably drunk." I'm sure that's what he said. And then, they pulled me over. Two ran up on me, asking me the questions. I got out the car, did all the sobriety tests, this, that, and the other. And because I was being because I knew they had nothing on me. So I'm responding in ways that are just pissing them off. I'm like, I don't care. You ain't got on me. I killed. Oh, whoa, COVID. Damn, COVID got us over here feeling. But
Beep, beep.
beep, beep. I'm sure y'all can throw that in there.
Yeah, it's fine.
And I did everything, and he literally looked at his partner. He's like, "Well, you almost." Basically, they try to say that I almost hit a cone and that it was reckless endangerment, and I was going to jail for that. I said, "What? I'm going to jail?" Like, he's like, "Well, we're taking you in. It doesn't matter. You're going to jail tonight." I said, "Well, all right. Well, let's go. Let's go. I'll do everything you need me to do over there. Let's go." And it's I don't want to make this seem like this is how it happens in all the situations, but clearly,
but it's your experience.
It's my experience, and I mean, not that this should matter, but I'm driving at the time 2013 Mercedes 5% tint, vinyl black top, black rims. So like when I got to the station, they were waiting for me. There were people passed out on the floor, asleep. I'm standing there, and I got three dudes just yelling, "Take your object," and I know what they're trying to do. And me, someone being made an effort to show them that it wasn't working. And that just kept building everything and building and building. And it got to the point they put a paper in front of me and they said, "Hey, sign this. This says this, this says this, this says this." I go, I just start reading it. I know I ain't signing nothing till I read what the hell's on the paper. What you think this is? And as I started reading it, pulled it away. "What are you doing? I told you what's on there. Sign it." I said, "Bro, I'm not doing anything until I read that paper. I'm not signing. I'm not doing nothing you guys tell me until I get to read that." And then he's like, "Oh, he refused. He refused." And like a refusal is like the worst, the worst thing you can get. Then they threw me in the cell for 20 hours. 20 hours. Mind you, I didn't say I played for the union or nothing, anything like that. 20 hours, I was in there meditating. They were like,
they're like, "Who is this guy?"
Yo, and I swear, even in that moment, I've never felt so free. Because I'm sitting in a cell, and I can feel dude walking by me, looking at me like everybody else in there. "Oh, I want my call. I'm hungry." I'm in the corner like, and then finally, obviously, the team like is wondering where I'm at because it's till the next day, like 1 p.m. People calling me, and they call the police the station, and then the dude comes in, he's like, "You play for the union?" I was like, why? It's like, dang, you should have said that, man. And then he's like, I'm like, what? He's like, oh, you got a call. And then they took me out. They let me get on the call. And then the main dude, he was like, oh, okay, you play for the Union. He's like, oh. And they were trying to like be cool with me all of a sudden. I was like, nah, bro, nah. And then so all that happened. They tried to get me to like just do this program of like, oh, all you have to do is this. I was like, nah, we could go to the stand about this, man, because that's not cool. And mind you, I didn't know the situation. There was 2 cops involved. One of them did not see me do anything. He's the one who stopped me. He put on the report I had 11 inconsistencies with my test. They played it in the courtroom. The judge said it was the best thing he's ever seen. He's actually going to use it for his next cases as a comparison.
Wow.
And I mean, it was tough to go through, but I needed to, because nothing against people that serve and protect. However, just like in any aspect of society, there's going to be people that are dealing with life. You know, when I can look across the stand, and granted, from the situation, I got to go to rehab. What? You went to rehab? Oh, snap. You know, but through that process of recognizing aspects of people that start to show when, and the reason why people exhibit certain behaviors, I recognize like this guy's, in a way, there's some trouble. There's some trouble there. Like cops on the stand rocking back and forth, getting red in the face, snapping at my lawyer. It was why I wish y'all could seen it, because there was people in the courtroom. They're gasping. They're like, huh? What? No, that's messed up. Like, order, like y'all be quiet back there. It was crazy. I'm telling you. Oh, stuff. And then at the end, like they hit me with the not guilty, and like the system is interesting, man. Not guilty. The lawyer, because the lawyer knew my lawyer, and then the cop knew somebody else, and they were all huddled right afterwards, like just like with the face. And then dude said, "Well, we're still suspending his license." Like, and it was, they just said, and my lawyer's like, "Hey, man, don't worry about it. They're salty. They're pissed." I'm like, "Damn, but I'm not guilty." You know?
Yeah.
So, but hey, whatever. It is what it is. Finally got, I guess my name, what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? Cleared. But in the journey,
Vindication.
but in the journey, I recognize that don't even matter. That does not matter. If people are going to judge me off of that, that's their prerogative. They can do that. I accept them, and I still love them for that, because what I got out of it, they can't ever deny. Period. You know? And literally, there are kids in Philadelphia and a family in Virginia and a girl in LA that get to reap the benefits of such projected, highly vibrational frequencies. You know what I mean?
Whew.
And it could have came from that, you know? So
Yeah.
we good.
Jill and I are feeling the vibrations.
Yeah. Truthfully, I am, and I find it like it could be something you'd be so like listening to the story initially. You're angry, and it could just be something you were angry about and ticked about, and rightfully so. But you found a way to not only benefit yourself, but benefit those around you from what you learned. Like listening to you retell the story, like the takeaways from each aspect are really interesting. So CJ, thank you for sharing that with us. But then thank you too for being so inspirational and finding a way to channel that so positively. And I know you mentioned in your messaging, like, yeah, my girlfriend in LA, the people in Virginia, but also the kids in Philadelphia. This week is MLS Unites to inspire kids. And I know your foundation, Sacred Seeds, you still kept that connection to the city of Philadelphia to educate and support kids and finding like healthy ways to eat. Can you tell us a little bit about Sacred Seeds?
Yes, Sacred Seeds. What an amazing name for, I think, an amazing vision, and something that's brought a lot of fulfillment into my existence since it started. Even in the troubles of right now, you know, in this moment, spring is, starting to bloom in Philly. We're to have a 13,000 square foot healing space with plants for aromatic features, aesthetically pleasing, facilitating workshops, curricular hands-on experiences, uh, we were going to town hall meetings with the neighborhood and like learning what they wanted to be growing. It's magical. And then the good old COVID had to come in and just change the game. However, again, it's good that we did what we did and got the grassroots connection first. Because I'll be honest, I expected early on that I would either be able to get enough people to want to get. I'm like, this is a foolproof idea. Everybody gonna want to give for this. Hey y'all, Sacred Seas, y'all down? Yeah, I'm down. Oh, cool, thanks. Here and there you get a little, but then when you're at the, the front line of the mission and you're trying to build all these things that sound so great on paper, when those numbers don't add up, you gotta change it up. So went from like such a high scaled model to literally grassroots level, just like how the roots reach into the ground, form their own network, and through that network, the whole orchard can grow, as opposed to just a tree here and there. So that's a beautiful thing that's come out of that. We're still taking donations. I'm looking at ways to now with this situation to, provide our mission, which is education of healthy, conscious living, how to cultivate your own food. Obviously, that brings nutrition, but mostly, honestly, the empowerment that we've seen from individual kids to neighborhoods, the collective. When you have a cohesive learning environment like that, you really see how we all just want to be down with our tribe. We all want to have value. We want to know like we making a difference. We do deep down. We all going for that. So like when people are in a community and they see each other creating something, and when it's a plant, when you can see it just grow, that is such an empowering feeling. And those first the kids are the ones that are going to change this world. It's setting up nicely for them to come in and change it up, but also how it connects their parents and the rest of the community is a beautiful thing.
Can Jill and I be a part of your tribe? We're in. We're in.
Y'all
I'm
already
in.
part of the tribe.
Yes.
Already part of the tribe.
Part of the tribe.
Hey.
Are you prepared, before we let you go, for perhaps a spoken word performance? A couple episodes back, you saw we had Ike Opara, who was talking about practicing his ukulele. He joked that if you two teamed up, he doesn't know where that tour would go. But kind of got me interested to know. But then when we thought about it, we were like, one, when can we have CJ on? And two, can we get a little performance?
I was already trying to create something. I didn't have time to like fully create something, but I'll just give y'all snippets.
Yes.
I got snippets.
Thank you, CJ. In the true CJ form.
And I will say one moment on Ike, I was hurt by that, because I feel like
should be.
I feel like with what me and him have been through, we Kansas City, we were roommates, we won an MLS Cup. I like to think you'd give me the opportunity, bro.
Shake my head.
I'm on your side 100%, CJ.
But it's
Absolutely.
okay. I do accept him for who he is, but I will send a message to the viewers. Let's not block out projections of expression. In this time, you need to be hyping all your homies up, your family, your favorite player. You need to hype them up. Period. Don't put nobody down. No need to throw shade when we're already inside. Let's be real. But
Message delivered.
That's all I have to say on that. Okay, let's see here because I got the notebooks, so I'm gonna have to.
Oh.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see when I can come up. About how much time do we have? I'm gonna do like 5 minutes. We'll see. All right. I'm gonna need y'all to give me because with spoken word, yes.
Oh, it's Sue's.
Y'all got a good
delay.
I know.
You go, Suze. I'll bop.
That's just great snapping there. Okay.
Boom. Boom.
Yes.
Boom.
Ring, ring, ring.
Boom.
Ooh wee, I got the caller. Been doing my stretches, keeping up my stamina. Now I'm here chilling with Jillian and Susannah. Raw.
Yes.
Hear me as I roar out loud. Within the vibration rings. It's an outward call. But I got an inward gleam. My aura tinted. My yoga mat, the only homie I seen in a minute. That's a downward dog.
Yes. CJ, I honestly, we haven't had a better way to end. Oh my gosh. We have our new theme song. Done.
I'm giving CJ a standing ovation.
Thank you.
See,
now if
incredible.
That was good. Thank you guys. I needed that. I needed that expression. Thank you for holding space. Thank you for holding space and allowing me to express myself.
We always have space for you here. You best believe that.
Yeah. Anytime, CJ.
And I can't wait till our space is all a little bit closer.
There we go. It's soon coming.
Well, thank you, CJ.
We'll all congregate in Chicago soon. Let's make that happen.
Yes.
And thank your mom and thank your girlfriend for us, please.
I shall. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, stay safe and stay healthy and stay blessed and keep doing you, CJ, because we are the beneficiaries of CJ Sapong and his enlightenment.
We
bow down.
Yes.
We need a conjoined namaste.
Yeah, ready? 1.
Grab the heavens, bring it together, and just Satnam.
Oh, that was really fun with CJ. What a guy. Thank you so much again to CJ Sapong for coming on and being so candid and sharing all of that with us. I feel enlightened already.
Thank you, CJ.
Thank you, CJ. Okay, Jill, time for What's on Tap. And actually, I am so happy to report that we actually have a lot on tap this week because we are rolling out a whole bunch of new programming for all of you MLS fans. Starting with, we have a new show that is going to be Monday through Friday on Twitter called The Kick Around. And it's going to be various hosts. So it will be sometimes me, sometimes Jill, Kaylin Carr, Stephen Keel, and then we'll get another guest, either a player or another media member. And we're just going to kind of chat. We're on Twitter.
We're having lunch together, people.
Yeah, exactly. Just kind of, we'll hit on some MLS topics, or just talk about life in general. So that's going to be Monday to Friday at noon. And then
noon Eastern. Yep.
But the real marquee event
is nothing's changing for us over here. Guys, the call up is going live for a happy hour every Friday evening. So basically, they're hacking our FaceTimes, which I find unacceptable.
It was hysterical. We saw this come up on the schedule and we were like, oh, so what we always do.
We're already doing.
Okay. But you can join us on Instagram Live, on MLS's Instagram. Jill and I will be there Friday evenings to probably raise the cocktail and, just chat away with you guys about anything. Jill, what else? There's a bunch of stuff.
Oh, so we got a lot going on. Oh, you know what? I forgot to give a little love. You see on my little scarf wall I've created?
Yes.
The Resurgence. I have to give them a quick shout out.
Oh.
Resurgence, one of the Atlanta United supporter groups, sent me a care package in the mail. I got 2 care packages during my time dealing with coronavirus. One was from my dad, and it was Tylenol because I didn't have Tylenol in the house. And I ended up having to throw it out because it looked like it got tampered with. And I just was not trying to mess around with that. I know. People are nuts
Terrible.
out there. But the second one that came untampered was a little care package from Resurgence with a note and a scarf and some stickers that are on my computer, but you can't see them. So thank you to Resurgence.
That is so sweet.
Adorable.
They love you. They love you in Atlanta, Jill.
But yeah, Suze, you say we got a few things going on. In addition to what Susannah talked about, the kick around did that. Extra time, don't forget about it. Mondays and Thursdays on YouTube. They're still going through those Mount Rushmores, which
Those are
really
really
get
fun.
your mind going. Brad Evans was on Monday's show giving his take, and Thursday's show is going to feature the Mount Rushmores of Orlando and FC Dallas. And don't forget, guys, during this time, it's MLS Unites. This week, as we mentioned, is MLS Unites to inspire kids. MLS and clubs are going to be showcasing how their players, coaches, and greats are coming out to educate and motivate kids with education and fitness. Okay, Jill, learn how to read. Also, Fox Soccer announced this week.
Oh, yes.
Fox Soccer and Major League Soccer are launching an MLS tournament. It's a special presented by Coca-Cola and PlayStation. It's going to debut this Sunday, April 19th on FS1, Fox Deportes, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And what's super cool is there's going to be some EMLSers, some guys from the scene, about like Mike LaBelle, but then like Franco Escobar is also playing in it. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Every team has
like
a player
soccer's back.
So every team, they have their EMLS representative, and then they are going to be paired with an actual player from the team, and they're going to be competing head to head in these games. And it's cool. They've set it up to like rivalry matches. So the Red Bulls are going to be playing NYCFC.
Here's one. Nani from Orlando is playing Franco Escobar from Atlanta. So that's the perfect example.
Yeah, which is super, super cool. So that is going to kick off this Sunday. And you know what? Like, I cannot wait because I miss sports, and I feel like this is going to kind of scratch that itch a little bit. So
I think it's going to scratch my itch. Yeah,
I do too. I do too. Scratch that itch. But
Scratch
guys,
it.
Thank you.
Soon.
I know. I miss you. I miss you.
Hugs to our fans. To Susannah.
Jill and I are virtual hugging right now, but to all of our viewers and listeners, thank you so very much for tuning in as always. And please continue to stay home, stay safe, stay healthy,
and keep eating, people.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the only one out there doing it.
Amen, sister.